A word of advice, something that I've learned not only from being in this business, from betting long before I got in this industry, probably from the days when I was in college. There will be times you will see a game that's just going to jump off the board and screams in your ear, bet me, bet me, bet me. And I'm telling you now, guys, listen to that little voice on your shoulder when it's whispering in your ear and go for it. Because more often than not, you're going to win those games over the long haul. You will have some crushing losses along the way, but I'm telling you, over the long haul, you're going to make money. And when you don't bet those games that are screaming at you, you're going to kick yourself in the ass afterwards. Case in point, last Sunday, when I saw the opening price for that game between Miami of Florida and Florida State, when I saw it was like 11 or 12 at most books, I thought I was looking at the wrong line. I thought that was a first half line because by virtue of seeing how poorly Florida State played in its season opener against Georgia Tech 2 weeks earlier and seeing Miami of Florida's offense, how good it was in its first two games, I had thought this game, the game between Miami and Florida State last night, I thought Miami would be somewhere around a 20-point favorite. But people bought into the rivalry. The line makers set the price ridiculously low. It went off at 11. And that's why I had, as I advertised here yesterday, the 17th ever 30-dime college football release of my career. And you know the final score, 52-10. And you got that winner as the half-price play of the day. End of story. Now, as I also tell you, I don't lament the losses, nor do I celebrate the wins. That's yesterday's news. What matters today is navigating this NFL card. What matters today is that I'm now in the position of going for winning day number 12 out of 16. I'm 4-0 in the NFL, and there's one game that stands out among all others. And today I have my biggest play of the NFL season, a rare 20-dime release. I'm 3-0 with 15-dime plays, including the Ravens last week, the Ravens and the Chiefs in week number 1 as well. And I'm coming with a 20-dime play today. It goes on the late afternoon card. It's a 2-touchdown burial blowout, just like Miami of Florida yesterday. You get it as the half-price play of the day using coupon code HALF, H-A-L-F. As I continue to show you, you don't have to spend big money to make big money. In terms of my complimentary plays here on the site, on the video yesterday, I hit 3 out of 4, cashing in with Cincinnati, BYU, Tennessee. Did you buy that half point on the Volunteers? We'll talk about the virtue of buying half points on another video. And the one game I was most concerned about was Oklahoma, and you saw what happened to the Sooners for the second straight year, getting upset by Kansas State. Last week, I hit 3 out of 4 complimentary plays in the NFL. In terms of that quirky little stat, if you've been following me, that I always talk about, that over the first 8 to 10 weeks of the regular season, if you can pick the straight up winners in games, you will find that they will cover at an 85 to 90% clip. In week number 1, they went 15-1 against the spread. In week number 2, they went 9-7 against the spread. So far this week, 1-0 after Miami won outright as the dog on Thursday night. So just something to keep aware of. Of course, if you could pick the straight up winners just like that, we wouldn't be doing this for a living, right? We'd all be mega millionaires and sitting in Vegas. Be that easy. Listen, for your complimentary play today, on the late card, my second favorite play is actually a total. It's on the Seattle-Dallas total to go over. You're sitting at 56.5 points, and I say, why not? Have you seen any indication that either one of these teams can stop anybody? And have you seen any indication that either one of these teams can be stopped by anybody? I mean, look at what Russell Wilson has done so far this season. I mean, the guy has 9 touchdown passes in 2 games. He has 11 incompletions in 2 games. The offense is simply purring right now for Seattle. You know, the Mariners, I was about to say. The Seahawks have scored a touchdown on every single one of their red zone trips this season. 73 points in 2 games. Wilson's completing 82.5%. And because he's constantly moving in the pocket, the offensive line, which has played better this year than last, has only allowed 5 sacks and 18 hits in 2 games. Which, considering how many times he's put the ball up in the air and considering how much he moves in the pocket, not too shabby. But it doesn't matter because Dallas's high-priced defensive line has generated just 2 sacks in 2 games. Meanwhile, how about the Cowboys? They blow the lead against the Rams and look offensively inept in the second half in their opener. Last week, they fall down 20-0 in the first quarter at home against the Falcons, right? And turnovers led to that demise, early demise, or deficit, I guess would be the correct word. And then they come back with that magnificent, incredible comeback because Dak Prescott just led them the way. I mean, he threw for 450 yards. He's completing almost 69% of his passes so far through 2 games with 4 touchdowns. Ezekiel Elliott's been unstoppable so far. So, again, neither one of these teams can play any defense. They both have secondaries that are suspect at best. They both have injuries at key positions at linebacker. Their defensive lines haven't been able to generate much of a pass rush. 34-30 maybe? I don't know. I mean, it could be 37-32. Either way, I think that this game easily gets into the mid-60s, and that's why I look at this total and I'm going 56.5 points. Are you telling me this isn't a game? Again, that's not 34-30 or 37-30. I just don't see it. Then on the early card, I like Pittsburgh minus the 4 points against Houston. And I can see the logic and the pricing of this game because people are saying, well, the Texans just can't start 0-3. Who says? Why not? They're not that good. Now, granted, Pittsburgh's 2-0 against bad teams. And Houston is 0-2 against probably the 2 best teams in the NFL. But the Texans aren't that good. I mean, Deshaun Watson must, look at his phone every day and go, how many catches did DeAndre have with the Cardinals in the last game? I mean, he's got nothing to work with. Of course, he doesn't have any time to work because the offensive line, which was lousy last year when he was personally sacked 44 times in 15 games, has already allowed him to be sacked 8 times, second most in the NFL through 2 games. And he has been pressured 27 times, second most through 2 games among all quarterbacks in the NFL this season. The offensive line is affording him no protection. Oh, and today he has to go against the Steelers. The same Steelers team that registered 7 sacks of the Broncos quarterbacks last week, knocking Drew Lock out of the game and then sacking Jeff Driscoll 6 times and hitting him 18 times in that game. Oh, yeah, that's going to be real good for Deshaun Watson today. But the thing that I looked at most in this game is this. I had the Ravens last week as a 15-9 best bet, right, at Houston. How did the Ravens win that game? Well, Lamar Jackson was good, but they ran for 230 yards. Pittsburgh has looked very good offensively. Conservative, but good offensively. Ben Roethlisberger, seemingly no ill effects from that elbow surgery at his age. 50 for 73, 540 yards, 5 touchdowns, although he's not really throwing any long balls. But look at the ground game. In week number 1, against the Giants, James Conner goes out early with an ankle injury, so Benny Snell Jr. comes off the bench, and he has a career game with 19 carries, 113 yards. Last week, Conner comes back against the Broncos, and he goes for 16 carries, 106 yards. Snell goes back, takes a seat on the bench, only has 3 carries. The Steelers are going to pound the ball against the Texans. They're going to keep Watson off the field. And then, when he gets on the field, the Steelers' defense is going to take care of business. The line's 4. I'm buying that half point down on Pittsburgh anywhere between 3 and 4.5 as usual. And I love Pittsburgh on the early card. A couple of other games here just to briefly mention that I think could be problematic. Am I in love with the Raiders after seeing what they've done, especially on Monday night? No. But am I in love with New England either? I think it's a tough game to handicap. Another game that I came across here today, Cleveland and Washington. I think Cleveland will be able to run the ball with Chubb and Hunt just like they did last week against Cincinnati, very effectively against Washington. That will open up the passing lanes for Baker Mayfield, keep Washington's strong pass rush off his ass. And once Browns are able to establish the run, Mayfield will once again be able to use play action where he's a much more effective quarterback. That line is 7. I would buy down to 6.5. I like the Browns in that game as well on the early card. But again, the Steelers number 1, Seattle Dallas over number 2, Browns number 3. Those are your 3 selections for today. I wish you well, guys, and talk to you again tomorrow when we have that little game between the Ravens and the Chiefs on Monday night. Good luck, everybody.